Hello, I'm Gabriel Moreno, and welcome to People in Perspective. Joining me on this edition is Kevin Turk. He's a RB teacher here, and he's a freshman coach for the football team. So, first of all, why did you become a teacher?
You know, I mean, ultimately, I love history. You know, I had a really positive experience here. I went to school at RB. I had a really great experience here, and so when I was kind of deciding on a career, and you know, I knew I loved history and wanted to come back and kind of share that same experience with other kids that I had.
So, was it a dream? Really?
I wouldn't say it was a dream. I've always had an interest in history, but again, in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do until I got out into the real world and realized that teaching was for me.
Okay. So I know you have 3 classes. How do you balance that out between 3 of them? Balance your time?
It takes a little practice, but you just you kind of learn to manage your time and prioritize things.
So I mentioned you're the coach of the freshman football team. So was that also kind of like a dream for you?
Again, I played football here myself. Had a great experience, and I wanted others to have a similar experience that I had. So when I decided to come back and teach, coaching seemed pretty obvious as well.
Why freshmen?
Yeah, I've coached all levels. I've coached freshmen, sophomores. I've coached varsity. I've coached both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I really like the lower levels. I like freshman levels in particular. I think it's a lot of teaching. I'm teaching them how to play the game. I'm teaching them about the game, and that I really enjoy.
Okay. So I've seen you're on a losing streak at the moment. How do you handle losing? So do you just forget about it and move on, or do you stress more on it?
No, we try and take positives away from every game we play. We try and we're trying to build. Get these guys ready to play next year and the year after that and the year after that. So, it's a learning process. It's a building process, and so despite our record, our win and loss record, we've seen pretty great improvement from day one.
So, what do you really see out of the players? Do you think some of them have potential? Definitely. Or?
Absolutely. This is a really great group. They're very deep, a lot of depth. They've got a lot of athletic ability. They've got a great mentality. Obviously things haven't really gone our way with wins and losses, but again, it's about growth and where we end up as opposed to where we started.
So, is there anything you can do about that losing streak?
We just keep working. We keep coming to work to practice every day, trying to get better every single day that we're out there, and eventually the wins and losses will kind of take care of themselves. Okay.
So, how do you balance both teaching and coaching?
I've been doing it a long time, so I guess I've just kind of figured out what works best for me. I don't know if there's any secret to balancing that schedule, but it's busy. There's no doubt it's busy, but I've done it a long time, and it's something that kind of works for me.
So were you growing up? Were you always into history in school?
I think I probably started realizing that I was interested in history when I was in high school, probably sophomore year. I took a trip out west and had an experience with some historical sightseeing out there, and realized that history was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting.
So you mentioned something about a site. Where did you go specifically?
I went out. It was a family trip out to the Tetons in Wyoming, and we visited Custer's National Battlefield, and there was a tour guide there that talked about Custer's last stand, and then they had a Native American come out and tell the same story, and they were very different, which I thought was pretty cool.
So when was this? What year did you?
I was probably 15 or 16, so I think it was probably sophomore year in high school.
And since then you were just interested overall?
Yeah, and since then I've been interested in history, and I went to college, I studied it, and it's something that's always been kind of interested to me.
Okay, so for football in the future, are you still thinking about coaching freshmen?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so are you gonna lean more towards because you're going in freshman now, are you gonna start doing future grades in the future? sophomore and stuff?
You know, I've coached the other levels. I kind of like I like being with the freshmen, you know, for various reasons. But I have no plans of moving up or moving down. You know, I'm the freshman coach as is.
So, what was your favorite moment this year so far in the season?
This season, probably our last second touchdown against I forget. Who's against? Morris, maybe. We had a last second touchdown from the 1 inch line where the whole team pushed and got us on the board. It was pretty awesome.
So, where out of all the teams in the sort of that you played, which one was the most challenging to play against?
Immaculate Conception is probably our best, our toughest opponent on the schedule each year.
Where do your weaknesses lie against that team?
Against that team, well, that team's got everything. They're big and fast and strong. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and so they're a tough opponent every time we play them.
So, do you see yourself winning more games in the future?
Absolutely. You know, this is a good group, and I know this group is going to go on to have a great amount of success. You know, next year and the year after and the year after that. So, you know, this is just the starting point for them.
Mr. Turk, thank you for being on the show today. It was a pleasure to have you talk more about coaching and your life as a teacher at RB.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you for joining us.